Using a 19mm socket, let's go ahead and remove our lug nuts. Take your wheel, remove it, set it aside. Using a 12mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove both of our slider pin bolts. Now I want to go ahead and remove our slider pins. I'm going to use a small pick tool to peel back the rubber boot. Be careful not to tear the boot. Do the same for the other. Purpose of doing this here is we want to make sure that we have enough grease on the inside of our caliper slide pin ports here. Take a little bit of extra grease. We don't want to pack it, we just want to add to what is in there. I'm going to pop our boots back in. And once those are set in place, go ahead and install your pins. And you can see we have a little bit of air trapped in there. We're simply going to go ahead and use our pick, peel up the edge, and let that settle. On the back side of our caliper, we have our emergency brake cable. We want to go ahead and disconnect this from the unit. Using a 12mm socket, we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove our caliper bolts. Once those are out, slide your caliper off. And we're just going to hang that on our sway bar here. I'm going to remove your brake pads. Go ahead and set those aside. Using our 17mm wrench on the top. And go ahead and loosen this. You can go ahead and spin that bolt out. Go ahead and set that aside. Use our ratchet and socket on the bottom. Loosen and remove. The reason why we didn't use the socket and ratchet on the top was that there was a clearance issue where the ratchet was hitting the upper ball joint area. So we had to use a wrench for clearance purposes. remove that bolt and remove the caliper bracket. Take your washers, set them in place. And go ahead and get our bolt started. Just snug that into place. Then we'll use our wrench and we'll tighten up the upper bolt. Snug that down into place. Let's go ahead and torque down our bracket bolts to 80 foot-pounds. Do the same for the upper. Just going to install your brake pad shims here. Press those down and into place. Do the same for the upper. Line this up. Get those popped up into place. Install your brake pads. The inboard pad has a squeak tab on the bottom. Install the outboard pad. Now on the back of our caliper, we have our brake flex line here that comes to the back. We want to go ahead and remove this bolt here, and brake fluid is going to come out. So you want to go ahead and make sure you have a catch can ready to go. Use our 14mm socket to go ahead and remove this bolt. And I'm going to remove this unit here. Now there's normally a washer on both sides here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our new banjo bolt and our washer, put that through. Take a new washer, put it on the other side. They're both copper washers. Go ahead and line that up onto our new caliper. Let's get this threaded in. Once you get that started and we get that pin put into our caliper, let's go ahead and tighten this down. Gonna clean up that unit. I want to just wipe this down of any residual brake fluid, and we're going to set that aside for now. Now I want to go ahead and take our old unit here. We have our emergency brake cable. Let's go ahead and remove this bolt right here, and it's going to allow us to remove our e-brake cable from this unit. Now to remove this cable, we're going to use our deep 12mm socket. Remove this nut. Go ahead and put your old caliper in the catch can. Let's go ahead and slide our caliper into place. Get the bolt started by hand. And let's go ahead and snug those down. Let's torque down our caliper bolts to 17 foot-pounds. Take emergency brake cable. Let's latch that. Now bring this bracket back and into place. Get our bolt started. Thread that in. Let's go ahead and torque down this bolt here to 26 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and remove our rubber boot off of our bleeder screw. I'm going to use our 10mm wrench. We're going to open this up. Now we're going to keep this open. We're going to wait for the fluid to come through the flex line, fill up the piston area, and then start to come out here. So we have some fluid coming out, but there's some bubbles in here. We've got some air bubbles. So we're going to wait for those bubbles to burp out, and so we just have a steady stream of fluid coming. At this point here, we have a good steady stream of brake fluid coming out with no air bubbles. So let's go ahead and snug this down. Clean all the residual brake fluid off. Go ahead and pop our rubber boot back on. Now at this point here, we can go ahead and open up the hood. We're going to check our brake fluid level. And underneath the hood here, you want to go ahead and locate your master cylinder. Here's your cap right here. You want to twist that open and open this up. Inside, you're going to see your brake fluid. On the side, you should be looking for a high or a low fill line. You want to make sure that your fluid level is at the high point. Ours is good at this point here, so we don't have to add any. So then we can go ahead and close this up. After you check your brake fluid level, you want to hop into the vehicle. You want to go ahead and apply the brakes. It's probably going to go to the floor. You keep on pumping this up until that pedal firms up. Once that pedal firms up, go ahead and we're going to repeat the cycle for checking our brake fluid level underneath the hood and add it as necessary. For any reason, if you should incur a soft brake pedal continuously after this point here, you want to go ahead and start a process of bleeding your brakes. Let's go ahead and install our wheel. Go ahead and get our lug nut started by hand. Once we get all these on, we'll go ahead and snug them down. Let's go ahead and torque our lug nuts down to 80 foot-pounds.